If you are part of the 95% of our audience that is not subscribed, please consider doing so. Thank you. All right, you want to pivot over to Major League Baseball?
Absolutely. That's my favorite.
All right. Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk about a little bit of history that was made this year. You know, our friends, the Baltimore Orioles, right? We talked about them.
I do know the Baltimore Orioles. I've heard of them.
Yeah. They're a team in Baltimore.
Black, orange, birds.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We talked a little bit about them on the Hot or Not. Been the team that we've said has been hot. There's also been the news talking about how they suspended their broadcaster for basically just stating facts. So we've talked about these guys a little bit. They are actually one of the only two teams as of time of recording this to actually clinch a playoff berth in the American League. So let's go ahead and quickly touch on one thing that happened for them that was Major League Baseball history. They are the first team to defeat all other 29 teams in the same season.
No way.
Yeah,
is that a real stat?
So the Toronto Blue Jays may have done it. I just couldn't find anything that corroborated that the Blue Jays actually did it first versus Baltimore. So the fact that I see it reported by multiple respectable outlets, I'm picking Baltimore. So that's basically where I'm going with on that. One of our first videos we did was about the new rules in baseball. And one of the changes was the fact that you're not going to be playing your same division and getting beat up on each other for 45 games a year. Every team is going to have to play more interleague games, which means every team's going to see every other team. So this is the first time that the Baltimore Orioles played every other team, and they're the first ones to actually get a win against every other team. So that's pretty impressive.
That's actually a really cool statistic, though, especially if it's the first time it's been done in baseball. To think that no one's ever beaten every other team in baseball is, again, kind of just crazy.
Oh, yeah. And the other team to solidify their spot is the Tampa Bay Rays. So they have also clinched a playoff berth as well. They've actually just announced, this came out today, actually, which is something we're probably going to have to make a video on because we talked a little bit about teams relocating and stuff like that. The Tampa Bay Rays just signed agreements to build a new stadium in St. Petersburg, which is a huge miss if you ask me, because basically what you're doing is you're building a stadium just slightly further from the place that people already said they hate going to a baseball game in. You still have to cross that damn bridge, and it's still going to be hard to get to the stadium. So I don't know if this was a smart move. Good on the Rays for clinching a playoff berth. Let's go ahead and switch over to the National League and talk about the only teams in Major League Baseball to actually clinch their division, not only just a playoff berth, but their division. Let's talk about these two teams. And that would be the Atlanta Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And the National League MVP race has really heated up. Originally, this was pretty much Ronald Acuna's. Well, in the last 3 months, Mookie Betts has made it a point to say, well, hey guys, wait, think about me here too. You've got the two best players on the two best teams now being the two front runners for the MVP. And honestly, it's pretty neck and neck. I want to go ahead and read off some of the stats here that may surprise you at how similar these two players are. Both of them are the leadoff hitters on their respective teams, both Mookie Betts for the Dodgers, Ronald Acuna for the Braves, right? They both predominantly play in right field. They both were an all-star this year. And they both are leading the other in 6 different offensive categories. Oh, and to make it even better, the number 3 and number 4 ranked odds-on favorites to win the MVP are the other team's first basemen in Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman. Only in baseball can this kind of stuff happen. Only in baseball because these kind of stats align. First of all, what's your first take on this when it comes to these two and the MVP race?
The MVP has always been an offensive-based kind of performance, right? It's always been who can hit the ball the best, who can really put up the numbers. The fact that you've got two players that are just killing it for their teams, I mean, that definitely doesn't surprise me. I think it's very interesting that they're so similar in so many categories. I don't know, man. This is going to be such an exciting race to watch down the stretch.
Oh, yeah. So let me go ahead and read off the stats that Ronald Acuna is leading over Mookie Betts. He's leading them in games played, plate appearances, and hits. He's also leading in stolen bases, which he has 66, which is leading all of baseball right now, and batting average, and also on-base percentage. Mookie Betts is leading in WAR, home runs, RBI, slugging percentage, OPS, and OPS plus. So both are leading in 6 different categories, 6 different offensive categories. You're 100% right on that, on your take on that. That's the reason why Aaron Judge won the MVP last year over Ohtani, is simply because, historic home run record beats the fact that you're an MVP candidate on the offensive side and Cy Young candidate on the other side. Other than that, if he didn't hit 61 bombs, 62 bombs, he definitely wouldn't have won the MVP. It would have gone to Ohtani all day. But so the key offensive stat for me when it comes to this, when it comes down to the MVP, if it comes down to these two, then you got to go after the main stat, which would be WAR, which is wins above replacement. Now, that one has Mookie Betts slightly giving him the edge at 8.0, and Ronald Acuna is at 7.6. So, that gives Mookie a little bit of the edge. Don't get me wrong here. Either one of these players deserve to win this award. If Ronald Acuna gets this, 100% deserved. If Mookie Betts gets this, 100% deserved. I'm not going to be upset either way. But in that type of situation there where I had to pick one, I would pick Mookie, not just because I'm a Dodgers fan, but because, again, the WAR is kind of like the de facto number there that basically states your value, whether or not you're the most valuable player on your team or not. And Mookie's WAR is higher than Ronald Acuna's. And really kind of the only main reason why Ronald Acuna has really been talking about a lot is that it's those 66 stolen bases. I honestly don't think that he would be in this conversation right now if Major League Baseball didn't change the rules and make the bases bigger. It wouldn't have
But they did.
He can capitalize on it. Absolutely. But if you take away the fact that the MLB changed the rules, that would pretty much take him out of contention. And honestly, I think he's taking it away from Matt Olson, who is on a historical pace on home runs right now for the Braves, with almost over 50, I believe, at the time of recording. Between that and also the fact that Ronald Acuna pretty much predominantly plays right field. But you got Mookie Betts, who has started in 3 different positions over 10 games this season. He played shortstop, second base, and right field. For all those, I think that's why I think, in my opinion, Mookie Betts does edge out Ronald Acuna Jr. But again, like I said, if anybody wins this one, it couldn't go to a better guy. They're both well-deserved.
Crazy. I love it, man. I'm excited to watch this down the stretch for sure.
We always talk about who's hot, who's not. We're going to focus on who's hot right now. The Padres are actually on a little bit of a tear. They recently have won 5 games straight at the time of recording, and which is basically kind of technically pulling them out of technically being eliminated from playoff contention. Juan Soto, probably about 4 or 5 days ago, called himself out and called the rest of the team out for playing selfish baseball, for not being willing to sacrifice people over, do the sack fly, bunt people to get people in better scoring position, and basically stating that they haven't been playing for a team. They've basically just been trying to, hit the ball as hard as they can and get a home run to try and win the game that way. What's your take on this recent surge from the Padres and the comments from Juan Soto?
My opinion is it's 100% too little, too late. If you're going to be a professional baseball team and a team as talented as the Padres were supposed to be, I'm pretty sure at the beginning of this year, you called it in a previous video that this could be one of the most talented teams in baseball this year. And for them to underperform like they have, be almost statistically out of playoff contention, you guys have got to be able to come.
Hey, phrasing!
Put it together as a team right out the gate. Be willing to make a bunt or a sac fly to move runners into scoring position and be able to do whatever it takes to win baseball games. You guys are all professional athletes that all want the same thing, and that's to win a world championship. And if you're not willing to do what it takes to win, you shouldn't be playing Major League Baseball.
Great way to put it. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is available as a podcast. It is available wherever podcasts can be heard. If you'd like to see the full episode of what we talked about today, it's also available on YouTube underneath podcasts. You'll see the playlist at the end of the video.
Yep. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like it, make sure you share it, and make sure you hit subscribe. On some of the other videos we talk about a giveaway we're doing, make sure you check it out.
Absolutely. Once again, folks, my name is Darren. That is AJ, and this has been the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.